Well, it's been a while, again, but we'll leave that for later for another video. We've got a Robinhood Suriname save to catch up on. Last time we followed Suriname's great run to the semi-finals of the Gold Cup, including that victory over Mexico and a promising start to World Cup qualifying. But today we return to our club Robinhood as they begin a second season in the Eredivisie. As usual, we were scraping the bottom of the bargain bucket as we scooped up any free transfers we could get our hands on. This year's bargain basement freebies included Theo Altendorf, who joined after failing to make a breakthrough at Wolfsberger in his native Austria. Boris Moltenis joined from USBCO as we attempted once again to add a bit more depth in defence. Having failed to make an impact in his home nation of Belgium, Matteo de Smet joined us when his contract expired, and it wouldn't be a Robinhood transfer window without a couple of free signings from the USA. Ben Washington has some work to do, but with that determination, he'll go places. And Tristan Eaton, despite his posh-sounding English schoolboy name, is actually an amateur player from the American lower leagues joining us from Fort Wayne. It wasn't all freebies though, we did actually spend some money for once. John Bearcut, who impressed on loan from RZ last season, signed with us splashing out a huge £25,000 on him. On the way out were Jawad Idrissi, who only signed last season but was not a first-teamer, and £450,000 seemed just too good to turn down. And Gillian Castiel, a Robinhood youth player who goes out on loan to fellow Eredivisie team FC Emmen. Not perhaps the greatest influx of talent you've ever seen, but remember we narrowly missed out on European qualification last season. Once you see our pre-season form, you'll see there's plenty to be excited about. Yes, this time we got to play some clubs from outside Suriname. And yes, we did pick up a win over MLS side Orlando City. And yes, we did beat Colo Colo of Chile in a pre-season tournament. And yes, we also beat Newell's Old Boys in the same tournament. And yes, we even beat Barcelona. Okay, it was Barcelona Sporting Club from Ecuador, but still, big result. Given that run of results in pre-season, our early season form in August was disappointing. 3 games but only 2 points and just 1 goal, scored of course by that formidable Elmaro de la Cruz. Now I know it's been a while, but that of course is Michael de la Cruz. He's just been renamed by one of my Patreon supporters, Elmaro. And a quick thank you by the way to all my Patreon crew who have continued to support the channel even while I haven't been very active here on YouTube. And if you would also like to support the channel, please check out the link in the description. So despite that slow start to the season, we still had a few games in which to find form before we would face Feyenoord away. Things did pick up a little in September as we scraped a draw with FC Emmen and then got our first win of the season thanks to this fine strike from new boy Theo Altendorf against Zwolle. We were struggling at home for some reason, however, as we went down 1-0 first to Fortuna Sittard and then Vitesse in consecutive weekends. So I suppose then it was a good thing that our game against Feyenoord would be away. And you have to see it to believe it, but we rocked up to the keep and rocked Feyenoord to the core. Sylvian Cherry getting a smash and grab goal for a 1-0 win. And then we lost at home the next week to Almere City, all of which left us very much at the wrong end of the table. And don't look too closely at Feyenoord's position. That win still counts as a big one. A massive win over amateurs OS20 in the Cup was just what was needed, as a tough run of fixtures lay ahead in November and December. Things started off well as we finally recorded the first home win of the season over Sparta Rotterdam. And then another eventful game with Ajax. Down with barely a minute on the clock as Shaparenko opened the scoring. But then Dord van der Kust showed that despite those new signings on the wings, he was still the man for the goals. Alvarez may have soon had Ajax back in front, but a beautiful sequence of passes soon had Rosenthal through to make it 2-2. Into the second half, and it was Ajax's turn to split the middle of the park as Julian Brandt restored their lead. Could we claw our way back level once more? Well, Dord van der Kust had the answer to that question, and it was yes. 3-3 then, with only a few minutes left on the clock. Could we somehow hold on for a historic draw? But then that moment every Football Manager player dreads, a free kick highlight for our opponents with 94 minutes on the clock. And sure enough, fired straight in. The ref immediately called for time, which meant we lost. Carlos Vinicius made sure we had another late, though not quite so late, defeat the following week at PSV. Defeats to AZ, FC Utrecht and FC20 soon followed, with the Utrecht game another late goal. And those results leave us in a lot of trouble at the wrong end of the table. But we'll have to try to learn some lessons from those 5 defeats in a row. But now it's time to take a break from the woes of the Robinhood team as we catch up in the next episode on how Suriname have been getting on.